Welcome to the Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast. Guess who I have back with me today? Susan Sheppard. She was on my show a few weeks ago, and she talked about her nursing career, 50 plus years of nursing career, and how she, avoided nurse burnout during 50 years or over 50 years of nursing. And so she's also, besides being a nurse, and she went into business, and it's called Getting What You Want. So she's a coach, a life coach, and relationship coach. And so I want you, Susan, to to share with everybody how you get what you want. Well, first of all, start out. How did you even start this business?
Hi, Bonnie. Nice to be here today.
Yay, thank you.
It's a little bit of a story, but I will tell it quickly.
Not too quickly.
Well, I was a business coach. After I got my business degree, I worked with Michael Gerber for a while, who is a pretty well-known small business coach. And while I was doing that, I ended up divorcing my husband not because I didn't love him, because I still am crazy about him, even though he's been gone for many, many years. But he had PTSD from Vietnam. He was in the special forces in Vietnam in the early part of the Vietnam War. And I knew something was off in our relationship, but I never knew what it was. It took 17 years for me to figure it out. I guess I'm a little slow when it comes to that. But after I divorced him, I took a whole bunch of relationship courses because I said, if I don't learn how to do this different, I will just repeat the same problem over and over again. And I didn't want to do that. So I did that. And then I was dating a young man. Actually, he was a lot younger than me. He was 18 years younger than me. And we didn't date very long because his mother and I were the same age, and she really didn't like that he was dating me. And at the time, I think I was 46 with 3 kids and an ex-husband, and he was 28 and the oldest of 7 in a Persian Jewish family. And so when we stopped dating, we stayed friends, but he went back to dating his old girlfriend, who was 26, I think, and kept saying she was going to marry him. And I kept saying, I don't think so. I don't think he's ready for that. But they had a very dramatic relationship for about 2 years, breaking up, getting back together, getting married, not getting married, getting pregnant, losing a baby, just on and on, drama, drama, drama. And after about 2 years of this nonsense where she didn't like me, I didn't like her, and he and I were friends, I ran into her one day and she said to me,
his mom.
No, his girlfriend.
Oh, his girlfriend. Okay.
Ran into her, and the one who didn't like me.
Okay.
And she said, oh, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm like, why? You don't even like me. And she said, you're right. I don't like you, but you have something I want. And I'm like, what could that possibly be? And she said, you have the kind of relationship that I want to have. I said, she said, I've been watching while I was his girlfriend and you were his friend, and he was always different with you than he was with me. And I'm like, okay. So she said, it was always like I had his body, but you had a connection with his soul that I wanted to have. And so I want you to teach me how to do that. And I picked my chin up off the floor, I said, no way, I don't trust you. But she was really serious. She said, I want to get married, and I don't think I want to marry him, but I don't know who I want to marry. And I really think I could use your help. She kept asking me. So I finally agreed to do it on a trial basis. And I said, I'm not that kind of a coach. I'm a business coach, but I guess I can teach you what I learned in all those relationship courses. So I started working with her. She ended up being my first client because it was a lot more fun talking about love and sex than it was talking about management and marketing. And during the time that I worked with her, which was almost 2 years, I developed the system that I still use to this day, which is now 35 years later. Wow, and I have been doing this kind of coaching since 1990. So it is 35 years. And the system is called Love with Class. The C stands for clarity, which basically is a little assessment that I ask people to do about, so they know who they are, they know themselves. So I have them do a values assessment and a life assessment as far as where they are in terms of their environment and their money and their relationships, and just a little checklist kind of, and then assess what are their highest values. And in the process of them doing that, they can determine what is it they really want. What kind of a relationship, what kind of life do they want to be leading? What kind of relationship do they want to have? So that's step one, is clarity. Step two is called love yourself. That's the L in class. And it is an original system that I developed with that first woman. I tell my clients, you have to go out and meet 40 of the kind of people you're looking for, be it a man or a woman. If it's a man looking for a woman, or a woman looking for a woman, or a woman looking for a man, or whatever, who it is that they're looking for. And go and meet and have intimate conversations with 40 prospects who they are not attracted to. And they always say, are you crazy? 40 and who I'm not? I said, yes, because you're going to expand your perception of who's out there for you. Because if you have had serial bad relationships with the same person in different bodies, which pretty much every one of you knows somebody like that, who keeps repeating the same mistake over and over, getting a new relationship and having it end the same way the last one did. Ever known anybody like that, Bonnie?
Wow. And 40 is a lot of people to talk to that you're not interested in. So that's sort of a daunting task when I'm hearing it.
It is, but after they get started doing it, it actually becomes fun, because I give them parameters. The parameters are basically, you're not interested in these people other than to find out what makes them tick, what turns them on, what gets them excited in the morning. What is it about this person, even though you may not be attracted to them, but what is attractive about this person? Because there's something attractive about everybody. And then I also have them recognize, what is the thing about this person that absolutely turns you off? And then I ask them a series of questions. It's like, how do they really treat the opposite sex? What are their highest values? What gets them excited about life? What did you learn from the encounter with this person? And what did you learn about yourself from talking to this person? And keep a journal with all of these things written down. And in the process, and also the final piece is that they have to dismiss them after they talk to them. Because, if you spend 20 minutes to an hour talking to somebody and your attention is focused on that person, everybody likes to talk about themselves. And once they do that, they want more. They want more of you asking them questions about them.
Yes.
And so a lot of times they'll ask you out. And I tell them, these people are not for dating. These people are for doing research. You are doing research about what it is you're looking for in a partner, to learn what is it you want. What are the things that are important to you in terms of relation? What are the kind of values that are compatible with who you are? So that's step two.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So do your clients ever get interested in these people? Because when they first start talking to them, they're not interested. But as they talk to the person, do they get interested in them and they start dating them or something?
And what I tell them is, you cannot agree to go on a date with them now. You can get their information. Don't give them your information, but you can get their information and say, look, I'm really on a mission right now. I'm doing research, and
you're my research project. Oh my goodness.
I'm doing research. I'm trying to learn what it is. And I'm coming out of a bad relationship, and I want to know how to do it right this time.
All right.
So once I finish my research, I'll contact you. I'll get back to you, But it's only if it's somebody you really want to know. And occasionally that happens, but most of the time it doesn't.
Okay.
Most of the time they're able to say, thank you for sharing with me. I appreciate the time you spent with me. And I got to go now, and
okay,
walk away without giving them anything. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3 is learn how to ask for what you want from anybody. There's this real simple formula. It's called the AAA formula. It's acknowledge them for what you know they're capable of doing along the lines of what you want. Ask exactly for what it is you want, because men are clueless when it comes to hinting. And then really appreciate, over the top appreciate any movement in the direction you want them to go. And if you use that formula, you can pretty much get your kids, your exes, your parents, your friends, your employees to do what you want if you use the formula. And it becomes a natural way of talking to people, because when you acknowledge people for what you know they're capable of doing, it sort of raises the bar and then they step up. Okay, so that's the A, the CLA. The first S in class stands for success with the 3 essential ingredients. And these are my 3 essential ingredients. Other people may have different essential ingredients, but my 3 essential ingredients are chemistry, compatibility, and love with respect. Chemistry is the easy part. Everybody knows when they have chemistry. And that's part of the problem. We have such a high divorce rate in this country, is because people get married for chemistry alone and they don't look further. And chemistry alone is not enough to sustain a relationship. Compatibility means really not identical values, but it means compatible values. And it means no deal breakers. Because if you really have a deal breaker with somebody, it behooves you to walk away, no matter what it is. If it's truly a deal breaker, you should walk away, because it will destroy your relationship, even if it takes 20 years to do it. And deal breakers can be anything, you know. It can be alcohol, drugs, it can be abuse, it can be temper, it can be geography, it can be, you know, habits, it can be the way you handle money, it can be religion, the way you want to raise your kids, where you want to live. You know, I had a client that met somebody on a cruise one time. They fell in love on the cruise, but he was a farmer and lived in Indiana on a farm and never was going to leave the farm. And she was a New York attorney and was never going to leave New York City. So they had geography as a problem. Anyway, that's compatibility. And then love with respect has to do with the fact that you love and respect somebody as a human being. That literally, if you are missing one of these things, like if you're missing the love with respect, somebody's going to cheat or, you know, destroy the relationship in that way. The compatibility is always an issue. If you have compatibility, it can be age. I had a compatibility issue with somebody who was 25 years younger than me and wanted to have kids. And I was 9 at the time. And I actually did consider it for about 20 minutes. You know? Long enough to know that when I was going to be 70 years old and having a baby, it was out of the question. It didn't happen.
All right. Anyway, and the last S.
The last S stands for step up and step out, which means if you do all of the work in my first 4 steps, you are ready to assume your role as the power in relationship, because women have the power in relationship, because men are willing to give up that power. They are willing to allow you to have the power in relationship because they don't think it's important, whereas it is crucially important. And women do have the power in relationship. Women do the choosing and women do the ending of their relationships. And men usually let them, and most smart men know that their wives have the power in the relationship. They give it to them and they let them have it. And it's not like demeaning power. It really is like women make life better for men. They raise the quality of their life almost universally. I'm not going to say it's 100% of the time, because, you know, everyone can always find somebody where that's not true. But for the most part, it is the way it is, you know, that women raise the quality of life. They, you know, make a house a home. They train the children to be gracious and charming, and they train their husbands to be gracious and charming. You know. Anyway, that's the 5-step process.
Oh, thank you so much, Susan. That's a lot in, let's see, what was that, 10 minutes or so? So if there is anybody out there, probably a lot of people who want some help with their relationships or getting what they want, you can get a hold of Susan on her website, susansheppard.com. So that's Susan, Susan, Sheppard, SHEPPARD.com. And
they can find my. I have 2 books on Amazon. I have more than 2 books on there, but the 2 books, the relationship books, are How to Get What You Want from Your Man Anytime. And then there's a little tiny pocket book called Dating After 40, No More Excuses. And it's just it's kind of a little dollar book, the kind you buy on those little racks in the airport, the little tiny ones. That basically is all the excuses people have given me over the 35 years of why they can't date when they're over 40. And I just dispel all those ideas.
Perfect. Yes, I know that is a big excuse. So, all right. So, susansheppard.com if you want to start getting what you want. So, if you want to be a guest on my show, go to my website, www.breakingburnout.com, and go to the podcast tab and fill out the application to be a guest on my show. So we will see you next Monday at the same time. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Susan.
To all of your listeners.